Going from guns and ammunition to drones, it was a huge jump. But actually, I enjoyed that. Drone industry was actually adopted very fast by filming industry. When I was back in Europe, I had slightly the mindset of a 9-to-5 employee, because what I have learned from the ERP or software implementation integrations, it's the number of failures through the digital transformation. And even though they said AI transformation is going to be as good as digital transformation, the thing is here how we can actually educate people and bring them on board to understand how to actually use AI. You can't just implement AI and let it go. People kind of tired of doing the same tasks again and not having any support. We started actually realizing AI is here to help us. We want to be more focused on what is really important for us. With the coaching mindset, I would say that we have to show the people they are resourceful and they actually can find themselves in the AI space. So even though if they are maybe fired tomorrow, what is the way to start thinking about the AI potential for themselves, right? And this is the way I'm saying, don't judge your background. They also have to start coaching people around the way how we can actually implement AI empowered mindset and actually start building in-house empowered people.
Welcome to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. Today we have Monika Tylova, who I've met at the LinkedIn Local in Auckland here, and since then we've caught up a few times and discussed what's happening in the AI world, and she's going to share a little bit about her journey and also what she's doing right now. So Monika brings a rich tapestry of experience from 11 years of dedication to government work in Prague to her innovative role in the drone industry with a focus on education, training, and drone academy development as a director. With a professional team from Germany, she focused on professional drones for agriculture, infrastructure, filming, insurance companies, and even the police to discover the benefits, speed of delivery, and return on investment. But that's not all. Before making her home 7 years ago in New Zealand, Monika also delved into the world of CNC machines, smart home technologies, enhancing everyday life with the magic of automation. Join us as we dive into her journey and transition and innovation. Monika is the founder and managing director of AIthentic, which is on a mission to bring AI into the manufacturing industry and help businesses build their AI-empowered workforce through their authenticity. Let's welcome Monika to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. Welcome, Monika.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you here. Monika, before we go into some questions, I'd love you to share your journey in life. What really got you into what you're doing today, but even some of the work you did with drone, like how did you transition from childhood into where you are today?
That's a good question. I have been always an active person, kind of somehow hyperactive. My childhood was, I grew up in the Czech Republic in a very small village. And of course, the activity growing up without internet, any connections, it was a little bit real life for us. Through this journey, I think I would say that when you grow in the village, you just learn things by doing. And with my entrepreneur mother, who used to have her retail shop, we always used to help her. So for me, it was always looking for some sort of support, help, and being with people, with customers, with clients all my life. Even though I used to say that I hate selling. So when I was 18, I said, okay, let's try to find a job after I finish my uni or let's say college. So I decided to find a job. And the first job was as an insurance broker, and I didn't like it. And I said, this is horrible. I have to hunt people. I have to, go and sell something, and it didn't really sound good to me. Because, when you're a child or when you just grew up and the mother is in the retail, customers are coming to you. You don't need to look for them. So for me, it was a new kind of approach towards finding the clients and going and asking, and they were telling you no. And it was actually nothing I liked. And actually when I was 20, I got an opportunity to work as a police officer. And I didn't know what does it mean, or, what did it take. And I went through the whole process of the test, the psychological test, and health check test, and physical test. And then I actually stayed and worked for the police for over 10 years. And actually, it was more often in the space of the Department for Guns and Ammunition. And during this time, I actually wanted to kind of build a ladder and wanted to end up at the headquarters in Prague. That means that I had to study university, which was police academy, to actually go and meet the requirements based on legislation. Yeah, so I made it. After 5 years, I got my master's degree and I got my role at the police headquarters. And, once you finish that sort of goal, then you see like, okay, but it's so boring. It was closer to the government side. And I would say I was more dealing with the papers, with what lawyers were telling us that it's not right, because the people were fighting against losing their license when they wanted to possess guns, but they didn't behave well. So we decided not to give them this permission. And after actually 10 years, I wanted to change my career. I wanted to try something new. And it was for some time, I went to the Ministry of Health, where we had in charge of a big, let's say, national contract, where they wanted to change something in terms of the healthcare. But after that, I said, I want to go to the private sector. I wanted to discover what is outside the government. And it's the journey actually started through that, because I started discovering I really don't know what I want to do. And it was through, let's say, another ex-police officer who was working for the business. It was more like Eurosecurity, which was connected to protecting people, shops, big shopping malls. And they decided to start building the Drone Academy. I said, okay, that's an interesting journey. And they asked me, do you want to become a director? And I didn't know anything about drones. So this journey was going from guns and ammunition to drones. It was a huge jump. But actually, I enjoyed that. First of all, I got 2 really smart pilots, like professional pilots, who actually taught me how to understand the airspace. Because drone industry is actually, you stay on the ground, but you are approaching the airspace, which is completely new concept, right?
Yeah, yes.
And so many actually drone pilots, they didn't understand that you have to understand the different legislation. So through the CAA, we actually educated the drone pilots. We were giving them sort of education to prepare them for the training. And if you wanted to have a license and do business with drones, you had to have this sort of license and training approved by CAA. And it was actually interesting because it was not only educating the pilots. I had to find these people. I had to bring some business into this new, let's say, developed department for the business. And actually, I was among other rivals in Europe. It was really male-dominated industry. And then here we are, and who is Monika? Why she's with drones? She knows nothing about drones. And I had to kind of find my way how to probably approach customers, how to help them, and how to make the business. And it was actually within 6 months, I started bringing results. And I actually built a sort of a big plan for the whole country to start educating police officers, because they were actually those they should know what's happening with the drones, because drones, one side is bringing you benefits and potential profits for the business, or you can make money. On the other hand, you can actually cause some damages or injuries if you are flying above people, above properties, and you are not allowed to do that, right? So it was like both. And as you can see from this disruptive technology, I started shifting and moving forward to, okay, this is interesting. But at the same time, I was feeling I also want to experience living overseas. And my journey just moved from the Czech Republic to New Zealand. I came here as a student. I didn't speak English and I even didn't think I could. Through this journey in New Zealand, getting first job, working for English-speaking country, it was my kind of dream. But the dream was actually, okay, what sort of job am I going to get? They asked me, do you want to become a police officer again? And I said, I don't want to, because you can't choose your clients.
That is true.
And I said, I want to choose my own clients.
Yeah.
And after actually getting first job, it was during the COVID. So I got the first job at EMA, which was Employee and Manufacturer Organization, where you are supporting locals, businesses, providing HR, like legal advice. I started realizing that there is even more, I would say, opportunities, because there are a lot of problems here. But because coming from Europe, I can see differences, and there is a space for me. Of course, I had to establish some sort of communication skills and style to do that. So I had to learn, even though it was slightly, I don't want to say boring, but it was backwards for me. I had to go back to, let's say, admin basic stuff. And then I was progressing. I went to a different country where I was really close to how manufacturers are, let's say, built in terms of the leadership skill set of people, and what is the sort of level, the literacy level of people here in the manufacturing sector. And then when I got to the space of ERP software solution, so I was in charge of selling ERP in Australia and New Zealand, which was focused on manufacturers again. So I said, okay, now there's AI, which came through with ChatGPT. My interest was immediate. And it was for me another sort of drones, but in this case, drones with your laptops. But you don't actually, you as a normal person, you don't go and compromise the airspace. Now you compromise the tech space. And this is where I saw it's even probably not worse, but more opportunity in this space. And I can see that there is not enough technical people, and now non-technical people can access this space. I'm one of them. And I felt, okay, I can do something here, but I need to start educating myself first to bring back some information. And I went through this journey through my business partners, because I started learning, if I have the solution here, how do you implement the solution, how it works, what do you need to know? And then I can go back to the clients and explain the potential solution for the business.
Wow. What a journey.
I know.
Yeah. Going from drone going police to drone to AI. Yeah. So as an AI entrepreneur, all on your own, what kind of mindset does it take for that to happen?
I would say that when I was back in Europe, I had slightly the mindset of, 9 to 5 employee, meaning that you just go to work, then you finish your job, you go home, and I was looking after my own house. So it was like a constant flow of work, but more like a circle. And I realized that I don't like this sort of circle. It's a stereotype and just didn't bring me anything exciting into my life. And because of that, I said, okay, I want to change something about my life, but I started with changing completely the country. Why not, right? Changing the language, changing the country was actually probably the big force for me. Knowing myself that I can figure things out anywhere I am, which is always good, a kind of sort of attitude to have. Just can-do attitude, wherever you are. It doesn't matter what you do, where you are, you just have to decide what is next here to do and how to approach it and how to do it. At the same time, when I thought I want to change something about my life, I didn't know that I'm still carrying my old me. And with this sort of mindset, I knew that it's not going to change anything. The country is not the change, it's you. And once I decided to start learning more listening skills, so I started listening to those like Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, not Jim Carrey. So I realized that there is something they are talking about mindset, and I didn't know anything about that. It was just kind of at the beginning it was difficult to understand. In the middle it was like it's easy to do, realizing that's very difficult to do, because once you live your life and you work for over 20 plus years, you have built and developed sort of patterns, habits, behaviors, and you also grew up in the industrial century. And I felt like, okay, if I want to change the way I live, the way I think, I have to start actually acting and believing in the new things, new potentials. And it took a lot of time, a lot of effort actually to do that. So I even went through hypnotherapy with a friend of mine. Then I started studying coaching because I said, okay, I know how to probably transform my life, but what if there is more to transform? What if there is something that is still holding me back? Can I find it? Can I kind of identify it and, give it a name and say goodbye to this name? So I went through actually 2 courses with Coach Master Academy and with AIthentic Education in Australia. And this journey actually not only brought me new connections around the world, because you meet, other coaches, they are interested in education, in transformation, I would say. And actually you realize how many people struggle, when it comes to your own personal transformation.
Yeah.
And with the mindset shift, I would say I started realizing that we judge ourselves based on our experiences and background, instead of thinking what is possible here for us and thinking about the future. And this is what I realized, that with AI, once I started learning, I said, in the past, my beliefs used to be, I can't talk to technical people or engineers, they are too smart. And it was a really privilege to talk to this group of people.
Yeah.
Now I started shifting into this space, and actually I realized how these people are very nice, friendly, open to, to work with you. But at the same time, their solution-focused mindset is not similar to our mindset, because we more focus on our problems, daily tasks. And these people, even they want to help us, they don't understand our language. And then I started realizing there is actually interesting middle point for me to be somewhere in between and learning about the mindset of both groups of people. And with AI, I said to myself, yeah, I used to believe I can't do anything more with the technology, and now AI is giving me a power to understand codes, to understand, there is something like I can be like small data science, even though I didn't study that. I can share and find information faster. I can leverage my actual skills, and expertise with AI. And actually, you can even prompt the AI asking, can you please give me an answer like Elon Musk?
Exactly.
So I would say that's the potential is unbelievably high. But the question is here, how do we believe we can actually, who we can become by using technology?
When you started using ChatGPT, and after it came out, and like yourself, I was an early adopter as well. What was your mindset? And it sounds like you were like really into it, and so was I. But tell us a little bit about that journey, and what were other people around you saying, and what was their mindset?
It was interesting, actually. First of all, you realize, first of all, I was a migrant, and I always wanted to have the grammar in the correct way. So before I, for example, write an email or a message, I went always through, the grammar correction and through like a dictionary and, this sort of what is normal in this English speaking countries. And with ChatGPT, I just got this answer like within a few seconds. And it was a game changer for me because now I said, okay, cool, I can improve my writing so fast. Actually, I can even understand what did I do wrong, because it was actually helping me to understand, oh, this is what you made a mistake here, or if you want to say this or that. So it was actually my kind of tutor, the coach, without even having anybody around. And once I started learning about it, I said there is much more in here. So I went through YouTube videos. I started attending this sort of Coursera, AI for beginners. Then I started attending sort of workshops, listening to what's happening in terms not only technical things, but also strategies. Implementation use cases, what's the difference between, let's say, AI in the past and now we have Gen AI, how to understand this word I didn't know anything about before. And actually it brought me to Midjourney. Do you know Midjourney? And I first sometime I really spent like to 2 a.m. prompting Midjourney. I was so excited because I was just like, I'm an artist. Oh my God, I felt so good. You just prompt something and you design, I don't know, Bugatti Veyron, really cool pictures, cool photos. And a friend of mine, he actually realized that I am into it so much that he was complaining about spending my time, the nights with AI. And he was helping me through Discord, where Midjourney was actually activated. And he actually started explaining me some prompts, how it works. And he also showed me that you can start selling the prompts and make money.
Wow.
And I didn't know anything about that, right? It's like, well, how come that people are buying the prompts? But of course, I was learning the prompts from others. I saw the picture, I read the prompt, and I was seeing, how when I change the prompt, what's going to happen with the picture. And I think it was actually the way I started learning about, I would say, how to talk to AI. Because once you change something and it's going to do something like action, reaction, a way of learning about AI, then I started using this sort of technique into prompt, right? So then I started learning, what does it mean if I want to ask the right question? Why do I have to give a lot of information as a background for AI to understand me first? And this is something where I actually started realizing I want to know more about the real world implication or application in the same way as drones. Because drone industry was actually adopted very fast by filming industry.
Oh, okay.
No surprise, because flying cameras,
Yes.
videos, you don't need to hire a helicopter. Everything was cheaper for them and accessible, actually. And with AI, I realized, okay, this is similar to drones. AI has been adopted very fast by those content creators. They started creating images, videos, writing prompts, the text, books, whatever. And then I realized, yes, but this is the way I want to differentiate myself. I want to go to more sophisticated, more complex things, which is manufacturing probably plays, or when you think about, I don't know, finance, insurance companies. When you talk to those people, you actually understand we are not allowed to use it, or there is a problem with this or that. And that's why I started being focused on more complicated industries, not only content creation.
Wow, that's a really cool journey in terms of, like, you really threw yourself into AI and really learning every aspect of it. I still haven't got my head around Midjourney. I don't even know how to get it going. But for me, ChatGPT has been a game changer and a lifesaver. I use ChatGPT for the podcast in many different ways to generate the questions, the script, the show notes afterwards, and so on. And for me, it's been a game changer. And like you, I've also been in the coaching space. So did you do some coaching as well?
Yes, I did previously, but I would say that with this AI transformation, the coaching might probably serve us even more. Because what I started realizing, and I actually read yesterday an article from a lawyer in Australia, that when it comes to agents, and we are moving towards the hybrid workforce where humans will be working with agents or digital employees, that there is a sort of fear of, sometimes it's a fear of being replaced. And sometimes when it comes to the physical world, and people, even the intention is good to protect people, health and safety related things like construction side, manufacturing side, and you mean it well, people started being they started feeling like they are monitored. That there is like an AI brother, big brother watching them, what they do, how they do it, how long does it take. And this is more like a psychosocial concern about how we will be probably reacting towards the AI. Even though I would say it probably depends on the country, because some countries, they normally have cameras in operations, and it's normal to kind of check in terms of health and safety workers to prevent any serious injuries. Whereas in other countries where it's not normal, this is going to probably put the pressure on employees. But the question is here, should be the pressure or should be more like a release?
Yeah.
And the question here is, you probably have to also bring the story into the world of AI for people they have never seen it before. They have never been monitored before. And instead of telling them, oh, we need to watch you for some reason, it's more about there is a health and safety, there is a operational improvement we are looking for, because we as a business, you want to grow and go further in terms of AI, rather than saying, oh, we are going to watch you what you do. Do you work 8 hours a day, really, or you don't?
Yeah.
So with the coaching mindset, I would say that we have to show the people they are resourceful and they actually can find themselves in the AI space. So even though if they are maybe fired, tomorrow, what is the way to start thinking about the AI potential for themselves?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is the way I'm saying, don't judge your background. AI doesn't judge your background as well. Really try to maybe find yourself again. Which is something what I did when I came to New Zealand, right? I was really focusing on myself, and it was such a hard things to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I have no manual for myself.
No.
There's no
No.
book. And I said, this is so hard. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. But this is what you have to start figuring out. And even though with ChatGPT, you can use it as your coach. ChatGPT or Cloud, whatever LLM model you use, it's like very positive, nice to you. And I would say that even though you have some ideas, you want to brainstorm with these sort of tools, it's always like, oh, Monika, it's a great idea, go for it. It's like, wow, it's amazing. Of course, we have to still implement our critical thinking, make some sort of common sense based on what we say and what is true, what is not true. Not jumping into something what just GPT is saying. But at the same time, really trying to implement coaching, maybe style, into the future of AI is going to help many people.
Yeah.
And many leaders and managers, they also have to start coaching people around the way how we can actually implement AI-empowered mindset and actually start building in-house empowered people.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And there's a lot of fear around people losing their jobs.
Yeah.
And people also, there's a lot of people that don't like AI because it's not authentic, it's not real.
Yeah.
It's but like the way I think about AI is that the more I get AI to do my repetitive work, the more I am able to do critical thinking, which is what you just spoke about. And the more I can then be able to be freer to do the things that I want to do in my life. And so absolutely from a coaching perspective, it's about changing their mindset of, hey, and I think people are still stuck in this 9-to-5 job, right? And like for me, I've been through many restructures, recently came out in October, and I went, okay, this is it. I've got to work for myself from now on. And what can I leverage? What am I good at that I could leverage and do? So for years I've been in technology and I've done a lot of process improvement and automation and so on. And I've ended up starting my own business as AI Workflows. So absolutely, we've got to reinvent ourselves. We've got to look at what skills do we have that we're really good at, and how could we reuse those? Now, you could still be in a job. I'm not saying leave your job and start a business, but I'm saying that while you're in your job, start playing with AI, start using it so that you don't get left behind, right? That you are able to then learn, and then maybe you create a side hustle. Or maybe one day you do leave your job and you start your own business doing something. So yeah, and I think I really agree that there is a lot of education needed, especially people who have never delved into AI. And I'm actually looking at starting a course and events here at the Crate. So we're coming from the Crate, which is in Albany. It's a co-working space, and we're in the studio here, and I'm looking at having like a half-day introduction to AI, and I'd love for you to come and join me and educate people on
So what I would probably add into this space is that last year I kind of finished a course with Europeans, and the course was called AI Coach, AI Ambassador.
Right.
And I was not really sure what is it all about, what to learn from Europeans, but because seeing Europeans are quite a little bit more focused on education, on innovation. So I actually learned a lot from, let's say, diversity of people. It was a cohort of 200 people. They were managers from the banks, teachers, lawyers, you name it. It was completely across different industries. And having, let's say you have a facilitator who is introducing you how you can actually use AI on a daily basis. What sort of tools do we have, that we have a different LLM models, how you can compare these models, based on prompting. Then you can play with Midjourney if you're in the content industry. And you started realizing that everybody has a chance to find the tool for themselves, for their roles. But at the same time, you have so many restrictions. For example, banking industry, you can't just go and use ChatGPT and compromise the data privacy, right? So you go but you can use ChatGPT or cloud as a partner to kind of say, I have Copilot tools only, or Microsoft tools only. I use Copilot, but I need to automate something. How I can actually do that?
Yeah.
And it was actually one manager who used this example, managing, 60 people in his department, needing some sort of automation because of his daily tasks. And he realized through Claude, the Claude actually navigated him to go through the Microsoft tools like Power Automate. He didn't know anything about Power Automate.
Wow.
But he actually managed through this sort of help with AI to use the tools that are available for him and actually automate the task he wanted to without any IT department telling him what to do. And you can see even more that those people kind of tired of doing the same tasks again and not having any support to change this sort of work, they started actually realizing AI is here to help us.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do this stuff that is boring. We want to be more focused on what is really important for us. And when it comes to coaching, I would say we will need more of these AI coaches to come in and help us to understand the technology, to understand why do I need to know, And then once I leave probably the job, then I also am AI empowered too. So it's not difficult for me to find a new job, or I will create a new job for myself, right? So this is what entrepreneurs, I started seeing people start leaving the jobs because they see the potential in AI.
Yeah.
And there is a potential is huge.
Yeah.
But we also are on the journey to introduce this potential to people.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, talking about Power Automate, so that's readily available on Microsoft's platform, right? But what I've noticed in the past organizations I've been in, it was locked down. Okay. So people couldn't actually use it. And only certain departments had the ability to do something, right? And to me, that's limited thinking.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, we've got to develop all these tools when you don't need to develop all those tools, because there's already a tool that can help you make life easier, right?
Yeah.
So I think the way leaders go about implementing change, and I think everyone's just used to the traditional way of like, a request comes through from the business, let's go to the technology team and they will build a bespoke app or something that's going to help them do whatever, right? But that doesn't always cut it, because it's going to take a long time to develop and test and deploy. Whereas with something like Power Automate and other tools nowadays, like, you've got Zapier, you've got Make, you've got N8N, you've got lots of, the tool that I'm using at the moment is called Raya, and it's got N8N under the hood. So, there's a vast amount of tools out there.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't just be stuck in this old way of thinking of, hey, this is the only way to do things, right? What's your thoughts on that?
But at the same time, you have to be mindful that businesses, for example, especially manufacturing industry, has really, I would say, sophisticated tools like ERP, you have MES, you have CRM, and you can't really compromise these tools just by bringing in the tools. You have no clue who is behind these tools, right? So there is still of course, data security problem. You can't compromise IT, OT in terms of operations, but you actually tell them what is even possible to start creating with AI. And what I'm started doing, and I had just recently another presentation for the strategy meeting. So what I did was more about going from the basics, then understanding what is AI and what is actually Gen AI, and how Gen AI is actually, for example, generating reports for us, giving us information. And once I said it's actually a chance for us to talk to the data, to talk to the machines, and people started understanding the concept of actually generating something back towards us. Because the normal thing is you have ERP and it's like a database for you, but it's not a communicative way of getting information outside the ERP. And we just started discussing, for example, there is a client, they have query coming through the inbox. So the clients were sending queries through the inbox, and then they have to actually do the manual data entry into the ERP. But because it's very, I would say it's coming through the PDF, you have drawings, it's documentation for the production side. And let's say it has 7 people, they have to do data entry manually. There is 250 probably inquiries per week. And if you consider the time that one person has to do it manually, it might take, 30 minutes per person, which means before you add it into the ERP, the production has to wait for you. And then actually when we realize that it's not coming only from the A to Z, because what is actually important for the business is the logistics. That means you have your tracks, and the tracks are, they deliver the products to the clients based on the location, and sometimes based on the shape of the products, because you can't put them all together, which is fine. However, AI can actually tell you, it will tell you, you will have three same products into the same location, wait for the second one or something like that. Because what's happening right now is really a lot of inefficiencies in terms of transportation. They just said, we just sent the truck to Rosedale and it was actually at the location and we realized we have the second delivery to the same place.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? And that the kind of miscommunication is actually from the data entry to operations, something that is probably happening outside of the ERP or MES, because there is no communication that is actually capturing all information together, because the data is still being siloed. And we are trying to explain this is no siloed data at all with AI. And now we started introducing agents. So agentic AI is actually not really new, but new in the way we are going to actually deploy them and use them for our work. And we call it like a digital employee. And that's why I decided to introduce agentic AI to locals, to people here in New Zealand to actually come on April 12 to 13 to our bootcamp, where we actually have the first part of the event is about like use cases, how you can actually start using agentic AI, how it works. And I even have a speaker from New York City who will be dialing in because I work with a company called AIthentic in the semiconductor industry-based business. And their accuracy has to be very, very precise, right? And because they build their own LLM model for semiconductor industry, it can be actually replicated to other industries because the accuracy is very high and it doesn't hallucinate, and it can. And actually, it's something that I heard for the first time, that you can capture the knowledge of your people. And once you have captured the knowledge of your people, then you have something like your, let's say, small agents. They are qualified to be specialized for one thing, but they collaborate as a team together. And then you can just be a, let's say, a chef of your agents within your company. And you say, okay, I need this agent to be trained on this task. But whenever you bring a question, as you know, the automation is going to ask the right agent to perform the task. And actually, in the afternoon session, we want to have this hands-on experience for people that have never touched, let's say, any automation. They don't know that they are actually capable of doing much more with their hands.
That's a great event to go to.
Yes.
I'm going to look at my calendar and just make sure that I can come along as well.
Cool.
Yeah. And so agents are becoming much more common now. And for someone who's going, okay, you've explained a little bit, but what is an agent?
That's a good question. I think agents been explained like something that can work like autonomously, like your proactive employee. That means what we have been doing with ChatGPT, prompting and asking questions, it's still a manual work for us. It's reactive, right? There's nothing proactive here. You ask, you get answer. But with the agent, you actually design your agent, you prompt it in the way you want to perform, and you leave it. That means you have these multi-agents, they will be probably, be designed in the way to be your HR. A good example we had when I was in Sydney, so we had an example for people thinking about agents in the way that agent is your HR manager who is going to hire your software engineer. Then software engineer will be talking to the agent in the way you train the agent to talk to people as your HR manager. However, the software engineer may have some questions related to the agreement. And because you know that there might be some questions related to the agreement, you have your agent who is trained to be your lawyer. Trained on the legislation in New Zealand, trained on the company culture, etc. And the software engineer can come back and says, I would like to have higher salary. And the third agent who is trained and actually, set up based on, let's say, requirements when it comes to work. So this agent can negotiate the salary with the software engineer without the human touch. And now the software engineer can probably go through this hiring process without a human.
Yeah.
But it's autonomously working. It's like you can be partly autonomous or you can be fully autonomous. Depends on how you believe or trust the technology. I would say at the beginning, human in the loop will be still required because we need to train them. Which is funny, we talk about coaching. We need to coach agents.
Yeah.
And for me, when you hear agents, coaching agents, train agents, design this workflow, we are actually building a new job.
Yeah.
Right?
We're building a new virtual workforce.
No, I mean for us.
For us,
who is going to design agents? We need to understand how.
Exactly,
right?
yes.
Who is going to coach the agents? It's us.
It's us.
Because we are going to capture the knowledge of humans. And if you want to train the agents for the DNA of the business, which is the future of how we can actually preserve the information that are unique to the business, that are unique to, I don't know, to even a country. This is the way to go in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been working with agents, as I mentioned before, and it's exciting what you can achieve.
Yeah.
And you can literally set up a virtual structure of your own team.
Yep.
And have your own assistants that are helping you.
Yeah.
In your business. The next question I've got around is the reasoning behind establishing your business, AIthentic. What was the story behind the name?
So I would say I've been probably trying to get into the business over the last 5 years. And when I came to New Zealand, I used to attend so many track days because I love motorbikes. And my first journey as an entrepreneur was I started bringing and importing made-to-measure leather suits for motorcycle riders. But because of COVID, then it was a Ukraine-Russia war, so it was, it changed just the dynamics of this sort of, I would say, business. And the market in New Zealand really didn't allow me to go with the direction the business wanted to go. But at the same time, I started learning about the clients here, about the attitude, about, let's say, desires of people here in New Zealand. And then I thought that I'm going to be a coach because this is why I went through the coaching industry. And I kind of thought we need to have a future mind. That was the original name of my business. But with AI, once I started realizing there is even more than just only coaching. And now I'm trying even to shape a little bit the coaching industry because I'm studying with Americans. I don't know if you know the program from Influential You. It's called Fundamentals of Transaction. And it's very important for anybody who transacts during the day, which is the sales, marketing. You always talk to people. You have to sell yourself. You have to sell your ideas. And it's even more important with the AI space. But I started learning that we have 4 different personalities we talk to, which is inventor, performer, producer, and judge. And all these different personality types, they need a little bit slightly different information you are going to present, right? You can't go with the same approach to everybody. That means you will lose probably 80% of your people, of your team to really buy in. And I said, okay, we can actually have these sort of agents right now we talk about based on the nature of each personalities. And if I'm a leader, for example, and I really don't know how to talk to a performer or producer or judge, I should just ask my agent to kind of prepare and draft the email presentation based on the specific of these personalities, right?
Yes, of course.
Which will give us a little bit better understanding and communication style within the organization. Maybe agents will do it instead of us, right? Because they might be even better than us.
Yeah.
But then I realized that it's still what is required here, and it's our own authenticity and how we can actually see ourselves is the way we see our potential in the future. And I say, you are the package that's been designed over the time. I'm the package designed over the time. I have my skills, I have my abilities, I have my expertise, experiences through the life from different countries, different industries, as well as you have. And others, your listeners as well. So I want everybody to really start focusing on themselves first and asking them, if I remove everything that can be done by AI, who am I? What is left, right? And in this case, I started thinking about, we actually have to bring ourselves into AI and start building our authentic intelligence. And then I kind of removed, authentic was something I believe in, we are all, and being like authentic, like with AI. So it's like AI empowered, unique individuals or something like that.
It's interesting you just said that about finding a true self, or authentic self, because so many people are defined by the role that they do.
Yes.
Right? They think that what they do is who they are.
Yes.
But really they're not. There's something deeper within, and by delegating that work out to agents and AI is going to help us actually understand our true authentic self, our true identity, and as you know in coaching, is that your identity is what drives you forward.
Yeah.
Right. If you identify with a certain type of person you are, then that will determine what steps you take going forward.
It's also an interesting point, because I was in the conference, 2 weeks ago in Hanoi, and I had a chance to listen to a really interesting speakers, like it was a CTO of an NVIDIA, CTO of Honeywell, a minister of Vietnam, Prime Minister of Vietnam. He was as well there, and he was actually talking about the mindset shift first. So we are now talking backwards to, okay, we are entering the world of AI, which is probably out of the space of industrial revolution. Now we have new revolution, but we have to revolutionize first ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
And our mindset, our beliefs, our way of working, and even designing the way we work and we believe we should work. And the former SME minister of Korea, he was actually offering the Vietnamese government the way they should think about themselves in the AI future. And he brought two concepts called that. One of them was, you can be a fast forward strategy, or it can be like a concept of fast forward strategy. And the second one is first mover strategy. And he said fast forward strategy is more about, you are focused on efficiency, productivity, and product and technology. And you are like prioritizing the rapid adoption, but it's more about, you are following the leaders. You say, oh, everybody's doing that, I will be doing this as well. It's more like you just follow the crowd.
Yeah.
But he said, but I would probably more highlight the first mover strategy as a country, because you prioritize innovation, effectiveness, and direction. And it's driven by purpose and mission. And I have never really heard about this concept like that. We have to start building a purpose-driven technology.
Yes.
Right? And he was actually talking about achieving the human security inside AI. And when you think about the countries and the way we should think about, he was like, what purpose will my country pursue? And what purpose do other countries pursue? And because it was a semiconductor industry and they were talking about the knowledge capture, so they highlighted the important fact that we will have these agents, that they will be domain-specific agents, industry-specific agents, or organizational-specific agents. So now you can see where the authenticity is actually coming through, because being authentic doesn't mean that I'm just, stuck in one place. It's not true. You are just building yourself over the time, which is the same with organizations.
You're evolving, right?
Yeah. But when you are evolving and you think about how I can have a purpose-driven technology, that you are thinking about the future, right? And when he actually mentioned that we have to innovate our productivity, it was actually another, concept I have heard for the first time.
Yeah. Wow.
We talk about production innovation, operations innovation, and we complain about the productivity, I would say, inefficiencies for over the last 40 years when I studied so many materials about New Zealand. So New Zealand has, among other OECD countries, the lowest productivity score. In comparison with others, we work the same amount of hours, but we produce half. Why is that? And when someone says there is a productivity innovation, kind of mindset, and I was just like, okay, what we can do with AI, I think we can actually start achieving even more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the possibilities are endless. It's like, the thing is, we've got to adopt it now and actually start shifting our mindset towards a different future, not the same future.
Yeah,
if we keep doing the same things, we're going to get the same result, as Einstein said. So we've got to do something different, and we've got to evolve along with AI. And it's not AI here and us here. Together, we work together with AI to move forward. Yeah, absolutely. What's your formula for an AI strategy?
I would say that we have to, when I talk to the businesses, we have to define the clear objectives. Probably this is very related to what we just discussed. Do you know where do you want to be with the business within the next 5 years? And if you don't need to probably have AI strategy, but you have to have AI in your strategy, right? Which means, okay, if I'm going to automate something somewhere, how this is going to support, inventory management as a first step, or operations, or do I want to increase the sales, or being better in marketing? Actually, the part of my bootcamp will be also the topic where the marketing is going to be within the next 3 years. Because agents are going to change completely the way we market ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we say, we probably have all individuals will have own agents. And if every agent is kind of the way we communicate with organizations, they also have to have agents to talk to us and find us, right? So this is more like a definition of what is the clear objectives, where the business wants to be. When it comes to the impact, you have to identify, okay, where is the potential to have the immediate ROI, where I can see there is a really need for transformation. So this is what we discussed with the business last time. First of them was the need of maintenance prediction, because they knew they have machineries, they have data, but they are blind. And every maintenance is done by it's still a reactive way of doing maintenance for themselves. And if you are blind, you really don't know if you are wasting your time, your money, or, where is the time that you will need a part. It is coming from a different part of the world, and you have to wait. That means you have to stop the production.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the second one was more about the data entry, manual data entry, where it's actually causing the delay in production and probably inefficiency in logistics, and people probably sometimes don't know what they do. There's a miscommunication and information lost in translation, I would call it. Then we probably have to also define what tools do we want to use, right? So for the manufacturers, I have kind of information around, you can probably use ChatGPT as your brainstormer, but probably for the implementation, you need to go to more sophisticated tools that you can trust to. Meaning there is also kind of the security around the implementation. The API, nothing is going to compromise what you have already done, right? And it's actually going to work. It's not like you just install some sort of publicly available AI tool and you just throw it away through AI, through
And then all the
ERP.
information goes out there.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So also I introduced like, what does it mean open source and closed source, LLM models? What does it mean fine tuning something for yourself, which is so many people don't know that they can customize AI for themselves and make it in the way they want to. And I think actually learn and understand the intelligence. So once you probably start maybe changing first, I don't know, problem by using AI and having or seeing probably potential or really fast ROI. Because when we, for example, said instead of 7 people, you will have 2. These 2 people means you are going to save $500,000 per year. This is going to talk to you because this is the numbers you want to see, right?
Yeah.
And this is the fast ROI you can have, including that your people might be used for much meaningful work they're looking for some time. And it can probably help you with retention, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then it might probably, when it comes to the first potential project, you also may say, let's pilot the project. Let's see, what we can do. You can't really transform the whole operations by doing everything at once. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. And actually, when you want to integrate something, you have to bring your people on board.
Yeah.
Because what I have learned from the ERP or software implementation integrations, it's the number of failures through the digital transformation. And even though they said AI transformation is going to be as good as digital transformation, the thing is here how we can actually educate people and bring them on board to understand how to actually use AI. You can't just implement AI and let it go and leave it alone without any attention and thinking that it's going to make magic happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we say that the people can be AI empowered, I would say train your people, have your in-house power because you already have it. These people know the pain points of your operations. They know what they have to do on a daily basis. And if they get the tools to test it, to try it, and to implement it, they will be probably even more proactive, happier, and bring you innovation into other parts of the business.
Totally agree. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And as you mentioned, the data needs to be right as well. You can't have, if you put rubbish in, you're going to get rubbish out.
Yeah.
So your data must be current and accurate.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing all this. It's been great. With someone who's also diving into the AI space, it's quite exciting to be able to talk about mindset and to be able to talk about how we can evolve and move forward and move and actually grow with AI.
And together.
Together, right? Yeah. Because together we're stronger. Yeah. So now we're at the quick fire questions. So I've got 6 questions and you can answer them with 1 word or a short sentence.
Okay.
The first one is, what's your definition of success? And has that definition changed over time?
Be aligned with your inner voice.
Who's your greatest inspiration and why?
That's a good question. I have so many. It's not only one person, actually. But sometimes I just admire my mom. Just like thinking backwards about what she is trying to do and still bringing everybody together and, securing everything for us. I don't know. It's just like sometimes I feel like I need to have more of her patience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is something that you believe that others may disagree with?
Sorry,
what is something that you believe
Yes.
that others may disagree with?
Oh, it's quite easy. The ambitious adult.
If you could go back and give your younger Monika self some advice, what would it be?
Oh, I would say be more confident.
Be more confident. Yeah. What is one message that you'd like to share with the world?
The world is shaping towards the unknown, and just be curious rather than scary about what's happening. And for me, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Absolutely. Just get out there and do it. And remember, fear is actually your friend, and your comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. So get out of your comfort zone and live life and succeed with whatever your dreams you have in your life. Last question is, what does it mean to be a champion and have a champion mindset?
Just don't listen to the negative thoughts you might have in your head. And even you don't feel it, like it's the right time to do it, you do it. As champions, they never quit because of their feelings.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Monika, for coming and just sharing all of this, all this amazing work that you're doing with us and your experiences as well. And until next time, keep being a champion in your life and cultivating that mindset in your personal life or in your business, because you deserve to be successful. And lastly, I just want to say you are loved, you are worthy. Champion your life, champion your greatness, and have an amazing day.